Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, also known as the Sorcerer's Stone in the US, because publishers thought that the US audience wouldn't know what a philosopher is. I don't know anymore. Well, anyway, whatever it is, it's a 2001 fantasy film directed by Chris Columbus and distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. It is based on J.K. Rowling's 1997 novel of the same name. The film is the first installment of the Harry Potter series and was written by Steve Kloves and produced by David Heyerman. And what is this film all about? Well, Harry Potter is an 11-year-old orphan who discovers that he is a wizard and is invited to study at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Even as he escapes a dreary life from the Dursleys and enters a new world of magic, he finds trouble awaiting him. Ooh. Yeah, basically there's this whole conspiracy about this stone, and Voldy wants to use that stone, and Snape wants to bring back Voldy and all that. Harry has all these weird theories about what's happening, and it's entertaining how we find out that it's not all as it seems. And this film's been out for years, it's been out for 2 decades, so I'm gonna freaking spoil the heck out of this film, so do be warned, this review will contain spoilers. And anyway, the Warner Brothers bought the film rights to the books in 1999 for a reported $1 million, or $1.65 million in 1999. Productions began in the UK in 2000s, with Chris Columbus being chosen to create the film from a short list of directors that included Steven Spielberg and Rob Reiner. J.K. Rowling insisted that the entire cast to be British and Irish, and the film was shot at Leavesden Film Studios and historical buildings around the UK. The film was then released to cinemas in the UK and the US on 16th November 2001. It became a critical and commercial success, grossing $975 million. $975 million for a film back in 2001. That was a huge, gigantic success. It was the highest grossing film of 2001. It is the 41st highest grossing film of all time, the second at the time of its release behind Titanic, and the second most successful installment of the Harry Potter series behind Deathly Hallows Part 2. The film was nominated for many awards, including Academy Awards for Best Original Score, Best Art Direction, and Best Costume Design. It was followed by, of course, the 7 sequels, and our review of this film. And let's talk about this. Well, obviously, let's talk about my history of Harry Potter. I remember when I was 7 or 8 years old, back in the year of 2005 on TV, nothing to watch, and I don't know if it was BBC or ITV, but they were playing The Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets back to back, this double bill way back in the day, and I just sat there, I was like, what is this Harry Potter? I've heard of it, but I want to know what it's about, and I freaking fell in love with it. I was just in the, I don't know, it was the sequence with, I think Harry and the guy doing the broomsticks, and I was just like, what is this amazing thing? I just wanted to get to know it more, and ever since that moment I've just been watching these films, and I grew up with these films. The first 3 films in the Harry Potter series are the most nostalgic movies for me. They're my childhood right there. I had the Philosopher's Stone on VHS, then I got it on DVD, now I own it on Blu-ray, so I've owned it 3 times. Yeah, it's beautiful, it's flipping amazing. And what do I think about this film? Well, let's talk about the good, and oh boy, there's a lot to talk about the good. Let's talk about the amazing writing. Obviously, this is based on the book, and as the years have gone on, I've since then read the books, and yeah, the books are, I have my opinions on the books. I think, just to let you know, the books are always going to be better than the films. But I'm not gonna talk about the books itself. I'm gonna save that for another video. I'll talk more about the Harry Potter books later on. So I'm just gonna base it on the freaking film, what I saw and how I felt about it. Let's talk about the good. And the good is definitely the characters, The characters are all these likable guys. I freaking love the 3 stooges, the 3 main guys. Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson as Harry, Ron, and Hermione respectively. These 3 guys just have great chemistry. They're just these wonderful kids, They remind you always had those type of friends in school, I was always kind of the Harry Potter of the group, or not the popular guy, but just always you know, like you got Ron and Hermione, and like you've always seen a Hermione in your class. You've seen a Ron, you've met a Malfoy, you've met a Neville. You know, like they've all got these interesting quirks and characterizations about them, and they're all so fascinating. You know, Harry Potter is it just you just remember like how they were back then and like how young they were. You know, they did a really good job. These kids like not having much success in like Hollywood. I know for Emma Watson this was like her first big feature length film, and you do see in the film that they do make little mistakes here and there, but I just think you know they're able to kind of work towards their weaknesses and kind of turn into their strengths in a way. Like they're kids, and kids are no, they're far from perfect, you know. And I just freaking love all these characters, you know. I absolutely loved the opening shot of like Dumbledore going to Pivot Drive and Hagrid freaking going down on his motorbike delivering Harry, and just freaking the Dursleys are just these nasty guys, you know. They are flipping nasty, you know. The late Richard Griffins as Vernon Dursley, it's just who Fiona Shaw as Tuna Dursley, another horrible character. And oh my days, you know, these guys are just horrible. And Dursley, like ironically, the actor's name who does Dursley is freaking his name's Harry Melling, and he does Dudley Dursley, and I think that's very funnily ironic, you know. But these guys are just nasty, you know, the way they treat Harry like trash. Obviously in the books it's really ramped up, but in the movie they do a pretty damn good job, you know. I flipping love it, you know. I love them. I like the whole whimsicalness of these early films, you know, like the way it was lit, it had this very brightness to it. Like the color palette was very there, it was all there. There's a lot of like orange and bright, there's a lot of orange and yellow and like bright colors, you know. Like it's very bright in these early films because this is childhood days, this is like the innocent days, this is like the early days of Harry when he was just this was a normal kid, you know, who had he had no friends, he was a nobody, you know. No one cared about him, his own family didn't care about him, you know. And then he comes to this world where everyone knows his name and think that he's an amazing person. He's just like, are these guys on some acid or something like that? I'm just Harry. And just Harry is just, you know, I like how Harry's reaction to the wizarding world is like how we feel. Like everything he's like witnessing is like how we're reacting in a way. It's like, what is that? And it's like that. And it's like, what is that? Whoa, look at that. It's like, it's just all these wonderful things that, you know, and those wide eyes, you know. I flipping absolutely love like the adult characters, you know, who support these child actors. You have who I mean, Robbie Coltrane as Rubius Hagrid, like my gosh, dude, like he is just all these casting are just perfect, you know. Like Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid and the late Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. He was, I think this was J.K. Rowling's favorite like actor in the film, you know. Like this was Snape. Like he is just so snidey, and the way he talks, he leaves you lingering. It's just he's so slimy and icky, and oh, you hate to love him. You know, you hate to love this dude. You know, Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy is just a nasty little boy who needs to slap. He needs a good slap. You know, I've seen during my childhood, I have met many Malfoys, and ooh. Ooh, ooh, he's not a nice guy. Oh my days, you know, like. But then you've got the late Richard Harris as Dumbledore. Now, when I read the Harry Potter books, the way Dumbledore was written was the way I kind of imagined. It was the way Richard Harris kind of portrayed him. He kind of portrayed Dumbledore as the way the books wrote him, you know, this kind of quirky, weird headmaster who had a lot of like warmth and heart. He was a very warm guy, you know. Like I really do like Michael Gambon's Dumbledore, but I think if I didn't read the books, I wouldn't have minded. But after reading the books, I just see Richard Harris as Dumbledore reading them because the way they write him, it just seems like this is what Richard Harris would do. I can't really see Michael Gambon as Dumbledore acting like that. Maybe if, oh yeah, that would be another story for another day. And yeah, the soundtrack by the wonderful, wonderful John Williams is wonderful. You have Hagrid's theme, which is just this lovely melody, and it plays in your head, and you you can even hum it, and people will instantly know what you're doing. Like, it's remarkable how recognizable the score and the soundtrack and the theme is. Even though it's called Hagrid's theme, like Harry's main theme is called Hagrid's theme. I kind of it is Harry's theme in a way, and it's just this wonderful melody. It has this like, woo! I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's like it kind of represents who Harry is. It's just the way the tune goes. It's just like it's a very interesting melody because when you hear it, it kind of starts off a bit calm, and then it gets energetic, and then it kind of like, it has a very big climatic end in that theme, which is kind of what Harry's storyline is in a way. If you heard the theme, you wouldn't understand what I'm saying in a way. It's just a really good theme, and May, you need to watch this film. Like, it's great in terms of, and the cinematography is flipping nice in this film. It's really good. I remember watching this film on VHS, and it had the pan and scanning, so I had to watch it at 4:3. And then when I bought the Blu-ray, I was kind of stunned by how much detail I missed out because we're showing the full widescreen on that, and it was beautiful. In terms of my mixed aspect, I don't really have any negatives in this film, so I'm going to talk about mixed. The CGI is a little dated. I'm talking particularly about the troll sequence. Yeah, I wasn't buying it. It looked really phony, and some of the Quidditch sequences was like, you can tell it was on green screen. It looked a little bit, yeah, it looked a little bit too bright. The interesting thing with Harry Potter is that what I've noticed is that ever since the first two movies is that Quidditch has always been set during like grey weather or like damp weather, in the future films. But in these first two movies, Quidditch was always set in a bright sunny day, like, again, it leads back to like the childhood innocence, and then when we go to the future movies, it's like bad stuff is happening. So I kind of like that, in a way. And yeah, nothing negative about this film. This was a really good film. Rewatching it for the umpteenth time, and after reading the books, I don't think it's as amazing because I finished reading the books and I thought the books were just flipping mind-blowing. They were just amazing. They gave more detail and more character development, and then watching the film, I was just a little bit could be better. But for what it's worth, this is a good film, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to give it an A. Check this film right now, and read the books as well because they're pretty good as well. But thanks for watching this review. Please like and share this video and comment down below and tell me what's your favorite Harry Potter flick, what's your favorite Harry Potter book. With that said, thank you for watching, and as always, Boarded Reviews signing out.